this was something about buying and selling silver. You know, I buy a lot of silver specifically. Now, my family was in the jewelry business years ago. But one of the things that I've always done is had a question of, I've got all this silver, but how am I really going to translate that into cash? You ever had that feeling? You know, you got it, and we know that prices have gone up. But how do you, because if you try to take it somewhere to sell, you don't really get what you paid for it. And maybe now, if you bought it, like when I bought a lot of my silver at $5 an ounce, you know, I probably can get what the pawn shop's going to offer. But that's still well below what it's worth, because they have to make some money. And then they have to send it to a refiner who has to make some money. So there's nothing wrong with that. And when you take it to an auction, to take it to a place that's in business, you just got to expect to pay less. But now I would tell you to compare. But let me tell you, this is the way to do it, especially if you're really serious and you're really living with silver. And I found this actually on YouTube, this guy down in Atlanta. And what he does is he'll take his check. Now this is an extreme, but this will just hopefully give you some idea about it. He'll take his check, and he's watching inflation and watching the silver. So he would take his check, take what he needed to live during that pay period, like for his bills or whatever he needed, and the rest of it, he would buy it in silver. He would buy that whole amount of silver. Then he'd take it and he'd put it back. Now, he kept doing that, and so then he had this massive stash of silver. He said, okay, I want to go on vacation. He goes, and one of the ways that he bought a lot of his silver was he'd go on Craigslist. And somebody'd have a bunch of silver, and they'd have it just about spot or whatever, and he'd buy it. He would take that amount and he would put it on Craigslist, and he'd just drop it just a little bit below spot. Well, he's been making his money all along, and silver's been going up. So he'd take that amount and he'd sell it, and he'd take that cash, and he would get market value for it, but just a touch under. So that is one way to be able to take your silver. You know, I hear it all the time, you can't eat gold, you can't eat silver. No, you can't. But I'm going to tell you what, silver and gold have been traded in commodities from the beginning of time, and they will continue to be. And these dollars will not. So the thing is, in Russia, in communist Russia, there was one place, and I remember this years ago, I saw, one of the things that always sticks in my mind is this lady going down the road with a wheelbarrow full of rubles. And they were worth nothing. I mean, the whole wheelbarrow was worth like $3 or $4. And it was months of, and what happened was their inflation was going so fast that they would get a paycheck, and then by the time the 2 weeks was over, their second paycheck, that money, those rubles would be worth so much less than they were before. What they would do is they'd run down to the bank and they would translate, they would turn it in for US dollars. And they'd hold on to those dollars because the dollars were retaining the value, and as the ruble slid, they'd take that dollar and they'd say, okay, I need rubles so they can run to the grocery. I need rubles so I can pay my bill. But they would keep it in dollars. Let me tell you what, guys, now the dollar's doing that, and there's no other currency to be able to withstand it. So while this is not a talk necessarily on silver or buying gold, and you got to be careful, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be hard to lose with buying silver and gold. And then you can take it, and again, go to Craigslist, go to Iwana. I'm not going to tell you to go to eBay because there's a lot of fees and a lot of things like that, but it's really best to go to something like that, and then you're able to translate your money and to preserve your wealth. Right now, it's kind of dropped down. It's about 32.60, something like that. When I last checked, it's silver. And, you know, gold is at record high, 1600s plus. It will be going up. My son, Seth, you know, Sue's Jr., Sue's Senior, he said, you know, he goes, Dad, you know, did you see silver go down? I said, yeah, but watch this. It'll go down, and then it'll go up. And I said, it'll never come really down below a certain place. It'll go up, and it'll go down a little bit. Then it'll go up and come down a little bit. Just like the stock market, just hang in there. So just a few things, and I hope that helps you to be able to, you know, use your money wisely and to be able to save money. And so, I hope. All right, speaking of silver, how about that?
Yeah, buddy.
We have a 5-ounce bar.
Oh, yeah.
This is from Scottsdale Silver. And it's really cool because they do put In God We Trust on their silver. And a great Christian group of people. I have a lot of dealings with them. They're just great. So, Okay, 27, 74, 87.
Oh, just missed it.
27, 74, 87. All right. You know, they drove from Pennsylvania. I'm telling you what, that was